Everyone, and welcome back to Last Week in Esports. I'm your host, Trainer Jared TV, and last week we had a lot to cover with the Esport Awards, where a little bit of drama over there. We had the Valorant Game Changers World Championship, and it went about as expected, but we'll dive into that. And then we had some COD drama because that community is always beefing, on top of plenty more. So without further ado, let's dive right into it.
Baker, what was that?
Cloud9 are your E-League Major champions!
This is Rocket League!
And what better way to start this week than to start with the Valorant Game Changers World Championship, which Shopify Rebellion brought the trophy home for North America. Congratulations to them. I think probably the favorite going into the tournament, but realistically, an unbelievable event. From Shopify doing everything they could and, dominating competition to having a phenomenal 5-game series in the finals versus Team Liquid. Team Liquid having an unbelievable event for their home crowd in Brazil. Really sorry for them. It was a great attempt. I mean, Shopify, I think, is, the world's favorite right now. Team Liquid did all they could. And honestly, they put up a hell of a fight to go 5 maps in the grand finals. Team SMG falling short. They were 35-0 this year going into the World Championship playoffs. So, fell a little short there. But realistically, Riot Games is just undefeated when it comes to hosting esports events. Truly phenomenal. I mean, the production was insane. They were dealing with people being sick and the players getting sick, and I think they handled that with really great care. Shout out to Riot Games. I give them a lot of crap because they deserve it, but not here. Great job to them. And again, shout out Shopify. 2024 is going to be y'all's year for sure. For the first time in a long time, I think Apex has finally some good news. For 2024, Apex is going to partner with 12 orgs to help them with ALGS kind of this year. And it's in more of a broader landscape, as in they're going to help them with financials. They're going to let them monetize at LAN. They're going to let them host their own events. Honestly, I think this is a massive W for Apex, right? Some of the partnered ones are going to be like Moist Esports. They're going to be Optic, teams that are going to put on events for sure, and they're going to be great. But I think the big thing is that we're finally getting a publisher to support teams. As you may remember, some teams have left multiple esports now, honestly, due to the inability of publishers to support the esport. Off the top of my head, I think of like Cloud9 with Rocket League or NRG with Apex. I think this is a step in the right direction. However, I think there's a little bit of cause for concern. They only partnered with 12 teams, so what happens to the others? It's going to be interesting, I think, to see. But overall, I do think a step in the right direction, especially, like I said, with some of these big, more content-focused orgs, putting on probably some events and bringing eyes to the whole thing. So I guess good news. Congrats, Apex. The Esports Awards 2023 has happened and now passed. So let me catch you up on who won. Probably no surprise to anyone, Esports Team of the Year is T1. They did just wrap up winning a World Championship in League of Legends behind, one of the greatest players of all time, Faker. 4th World Championship. He's just kind of got that dog in him. Really big year for them. I'm not personally sold on them being Team of the Year, but is what it is. On top of that, Faker won PC Player of the Year. There's a lot of drama behind that one. People are not really happy with that. Not going to dive into maybe why, because I'm just not going to be able to tell you why. I think he probably does deserve it. He did sit out with an injury. His team became the worst in the league. He came back and led them to a world championship. I mean, be hard pressed to name a player more deserving. Org of the Year is Team Vitality, which I think is a real easy choice. They've dominated multiple esport titles over the year and have looked, reasonably solid compared to most people in the state of esports right now. So congrats to Team Vitality for that one. Other highlights include Esports Coach of the Year, which rightfully goes to Potter of Evil Geniuses Valorant. I know Evil Geniuses doesn't deserve much credit at all nowadays because of all the stuff that's going on, but Potter definitely deserves a ton of credit. She was getting a lot of slack, a lot of hate mail, regarding their performance. Turned it around. The championship winning team. Potter deserves it. On top of that, we have Breakthrough Player of the Year, which is obviously Demon 1. There's no other option. Again, he's from Evil Geniuses Valorant, so shout out to them. Potter and Demon One, both deserving of their wins. The last notable one here, in my opinion, is Monesi winning Esports Play of the Year. You know it if you've seen it. His Deagle play, he's got that dog in him. Monesi's the new god of CS. I mean, if you've watched any CS, you know this kid's for real. So excited to see what his career turns out like. I'm sure you'll see plenty of highlights in the future from this channel about him. Okay, I know I'm a little biased about the Call of Duty community. They refuse to grow up. They have the cockiest, most arrogant, most annoying professionals in all of esports, and I'll die on that hill. But maybe some good coming out of them. So, for people who don't know, they have a system called GA in Call of Duty, which is a gentleman's agreement. And they basically say, hey, this mechanic, this weapon, this kill streak, etc., really sucks. And it either breaks the game or it just makes everything unfun. So, we're going to gentleman's agreement and no one's allowed to play with it. And the teams across the league, come to that agreement. Well, I think the most annoying thing I've ever seen in Call of Duty, especially on Twitter recently, is a thing called snaking. It just looks like arguably the worst gameplay I've ever seen in my life. Repeatedly crouching on crouching, slide canceling, dashing behind corners, and crouching on crouching and head glitching is what it looks like. I can't tell you, I don't play COD, but the gentleman agreement that out. Congrats, good job, Call of Duty. You continuously ruin your games, and games aren't good, but whatever. Snaking's gone. Thank you to Zuma for putting that one on his back and taking lead and getting it outlawed. So, congrats, Call of Duty. Maybe you'll have a good esports year this year. In perhaps one of the worst tournament organizer mistakes I've ever seen, we go to PUBG. So the PUBG Global Championship was happening this week in Thailand. It's like a $2 million tournament, so a lot of money on the line. We had an unsigned team named Team Question Mark load into a lobby, drop whatever, battle royale stuff. And then unexpectedly, they all DC from the lobby. Just one team, not a server failure. Every other team's fine. All four people from Team Question Mark DC. And you may be wondering, well, why only one team? Well, that's because the power went out in just their booth. Okay, no biggie, right? We just restart the lobby. It was pretty early, and no biggie, we lose 20 minutes. Reasonable, right? Yeah, you would think. Instead, the lobby, game 10, plays out and cost Team Question Mark a potential spot in the finals. You heard that right. They didn't remake a power outage in a team's booth, only one booth, not allowing that team to play, has now cost that team probably their spot in the finals and then in turn, a chance at some of the prize money. Unbelievable. PUBG Esports continued to double down and say, sucks to suck. It's in our rules. Okay, your rules are terrible. Tons of community backlash. Haven't seen a real apology. Doesn't look like they're going to. Really feel bad for Team Question Mark, especially being unsigned. A good finish here might look to be, getting signed to an org. Disgusting from PUBG Esports. Disgusting. And that'll do it for this week and last week in esports. Yeah, that sounds right. I will be gone next week, traveling. Sorry, sucks to suck. But it's December now, it's the winter season, so we've got tons to talk about. I will keep you up to date when I get back. Please like the video, subscribe, comment, helps me out, lets me know what I'm doing right or wrong. And as always, join the Discord. We talk about esports all the time. But either way, hope you all have a great week and GG's.